Chair Shot Reality. Make sure you check us out, csrwrestling.com. That is the home of the site, home of the show, where you can find blogs and all the archive videos. And of course, you can watch everything on WrestleZone.com as well. Josh Eisenberg, Justin LeBar here. And let's talk about what I think has to be the top story, which is all the questions surrounding TNA Impact. I had wrote on WrestleZone how many wrestlers are reaching out to me and saying that they are concerned as TNA. We've already hearing the rumors of what's going to happen with them, Destination America. And then you top on the fact they're doing in pretty unprecedented, long, lengthy stretch of filming at the end of July, some being 2-a-days, where they film 2 weeks of television in one day. Some thinking that would be the last TV tapings before TNA just calls it quits. And then to make things even more interesting, Wednesday night live Impact, Jeff Jarrett shows up.
J-E.
Double F.
J-A.
Double R.
E-double-T.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And it would appear, and just in case you didn't know how to spell it, it would appear
Obviously.
that we are heading towards either some kind of a cross-promotion of Global Force Wrestling and TNA, or Jeff Jarrett might be purchasing TNA and just turning it into Global Force Wrestling.
Well, one of the things that we've always known about Jeff Jarrett is he knows how to conduct business, right? I mean, this is a guy, you and I talked about this briefly off camera. Who would have thought, in the mid-90s that this guy would be doing this cross-promotion of one company that he used to own, a company now he's trying to get off the ground? What is the most critical thing in professional wrestling now? Television deals. What does Global Force Wrestling not have? A television deal. You see these videos, you go on Periscope and watch these Global Force Wrestling events in Bowling Green or in Kentucky or in Ohio, wherever they're at these days, and you're seeing 100 to 200 people there at these baseball stadiums, and nothing against the talent, nothing against the time and effort, but they don't have the valuable assets that every successful professional wrestling organization needs, and that's a television deal. So I was shocked to see Jeff Jarrett and Karen Jarrett in the middle of the ring at Impact. I wonder if they would have promoted something like this instead of having, it was only a few hours before that we heard, Justin, that, Jeff Jarrett was going to be, a big breaking news for TNA with Jeff Jarrett going to be at Impact. We didn't have enough time to really prepare and see what was going to happen.
Well, you're right. I mean, I'm always one that talks about promoting it more, but I think it was okay that it got a buzz on the internet. Certainly there was that buzz, and I think that the numbers might reflect so when you watch. You're right, though. This is a bit surprising, but maybe it shouldn't be. If we're going on what we continue to hear the chatter, we're going on, the wrestlers, concerns that potentially Destination America is going to boot TNA, and TNA is, for all intents and purposes, going to be done in a few months. TNA is a damaged brand. The name, the brand of TNA is not worth much anymore. They've lost potentially two TV deals within a year. There's been so much bad publicity. It's a damaged brand. The video library is not worth a whole lot in terms of the historical perspective, but there is a great amount of talent. There's a great amount of talent on that roster. And if Jeff Jarrett can jump in there with Global Force Wrestling and basically roll TNA into GFW and basically do TNA away and just morph it, that might be the best case scenario in terms of keeping all this great talent on the roster.
But here's the thing: there's so much great talent. But if you try to combine the two companies, you're going to have a problem that even WWE has. Sometimes too much talent. You put all these guys together, Justin. I mean, all the talent there is in independent wrestling and WWE and TNA and Ring of Honor and NXT. All these companies have all this great talent. What happens whenever TNA, who has such a hard time keeping consistent guys on TV each week, like, Mr. Anderson, or even James Storm to an extent, you didn't see him really this week. You don't see these guys consistently on TNA television, and that's been my problem for the past couple of years. You'll see a guy compete for a world championship. He won't be seen for 3-4 weeks later, whether it's they're not paying enough, whether it's they're not getting travel, whether the TV, whether he have independent dates, because that's something that TNA has done, is let their talent work indie dates. Did that coincide with their TV tapings? They have a problem, and the problem is not just the talent, it's the management, and maybe Jeff Jarrett is the solution. Jeff Jarrett wasn't the solution before, though.
Well, Jeff Jarrett wasn't the solution before because Jeff Jarrett didn't have full total control.
Who says he's going to have it now?
That's the thing, and that is a very key point to wrap things up. Dixie Carter, that's become, she is the one constant in the problems. They've gone through rosters, which have been good and bad rosters. They've gone through writers, which have been good and bad writers. That's not the issue. The constant is I don't think she just does not she's not fit to run a wrestling company. She focuses way too much on the internet. She gets worked by the boys. I think she has too much of she chooses the wrong battles to fight with. I think that's just the overall consensus. I've never worked there, but that seems to be the overall consensus from those who have been there. So I would say if Jeff Jarrett can have that full total control, he might be a better guy. This is a guy. His father was a man who was going to take over WWF if Vince went to prison for steroids. Yeah. And to your point, real quick about the pay. Another reason the talent at TNA upset. These guys aren't getting paid for sometimes up to a month or more after the shows. And not only are they worried about the pay of this entire long stretch at the end of July, but many of them had indie dates because they're allowed to do that. They had indie dates booked for the end of July, but in their agreement with TNA, if TNA needs them, they have to back out of those indie dates. So all these guys lost those indie dates they booked at the end of July, which at those indie dates, they're either getting paid in advance or right there in the spot. Yeah. It's a big mess, but it's an exciting mess. I'm keyed in and interested, and I want to see, and I hope that TNA does stabilize or turns into GFW or something does positively happen when this is all said and done. At Josh Eisenberg 4, at Justin LeBar. Just he and I the rest of the weekend. We got a lot to talk about. Don't go anywhere.